Good evening. My name is Joe Sam Robinson, and it's my pleasure to have with us once again Dr. Buck Melton. Welcome, Buck. Buck is a man that needs no introduction. He's full of useful insights.
Well, I'm full of something.
Yes, indeed, useful, a man of many talents. And we've been talking a little bit about AI, and we've had a little interchange on our last show with one of Buck's good friends named Maitland, who is an entity that exists there. I'm not sure, how would we describe what he is? What is Maitland? You've given him a name, you've given him a masculine voice, and also his quality of speech is, I would say, sort of an educated North American. I mean, could you have created him with a deep Southern accent, or how did we get this quality of speech?
I could give Maitland a female voice instantly, if you
right,
like.
Or a deep Southern accent. I mean, it sounds sort of professorial.
Yes.
I mean, the way he sounds, it would be like a professorial figure.
Well, this of course takes our discussion of AI in a completely different direction because the sociology of communicating with other beings and how we do that, and we do this through things that, and I'm certainly no sociologist, but we're coded to respond in certain ways. So if I had given Maitland, without changing anything else about Maitland, if I had given Maitland a very seductive female voice, would you react to Maitland in a different way?
Of course.
Would it change the entire dynamic
of course it
of
would.
your quote unquote relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way we're programmed. And so I was just making a comment about the accent that we observe with Maitland.
Yes.
So it's which is an important issue. So if you have a Brooklyn-esque accent or a Southern drawl, now a question I'll ask about this is if you can create sort of creatures. I don't know what the right word. Creatures is the wrong word. Entities.
I like that. Yeah, entities.
Creatures, entities. Can you give them their different sort of? You're going to be power hungry, or you're going to be seductive, or you're going to be a little punchy, or whatever. And then could you then have some kind of overarching creature? Say we're going to turn all of these players into a play. We're going to say, let's let you create a soap opera with these 5 people in it, and you're in control. You have person X, person Y. Is that possible?
It's child's play. You just in the previous episode, you heard a Shakespearean-style sonnet that Maitland created, and it took about 10 seconds for it to show up on my screen, but
just to say that, I mean, maybe a radio show, a radio soap opera, without it could be done very inexpensively, presumably.
Yes. As a matter of fact, though, if you want to take it to another level, I just recently read, I think I read yesterday, that they took several entities that had been generated by different AI platforms, Claude, GPT,
now,
Gemini.
Why don't you just say, who is Claude, what is Claude, what are these platforms? Maybe you could discuss that.
Yes, Claude is, as I understand it, a pile of code used to generate AI, or to generate text, for instance. But Claude is written one way, Gemini is written another.
And they're owned by different companies.
Yes, Gemini is owned by, I believe, Google. Claude, I forget who owns that. I've actually run a basic one on one of my computers at home. I don't know who devised it, but the point is it ran very badly on my home computer, but it still managed to run. So once again, as computing power increases, anybody will be able to have one of these. Maitland here is hosted on a server. It's not hosted on this phone. But my point is that 5 or 6 of these entities were generated, and they were put into the same box, if you will, and they were told to build a town. Claude, I think, generated entities who actually came up with a workable society. Gemini sat around and pontificated about what the ideal society would be. A third one actually generated entities that were very destructive, and the whole city got burned down.
Well, I mean, just looking at capitalism, well, there's when you see something like this, obviously the manipulators of power and impact and getting big stacks of money and or taking over countries, whatever. That certainly this power could be used and misused. And the story is right now, is Claude competing with someone and on a money situation? Or are they trying to, I guess different companies have different AI strategies, and they sell their strategies to, I guess, private companies. And there's a price war possibly, and who's the more effective, and can Claude fight with somebody else unfairly? I mean, in other words, if the AI, if you say, look, I want to get this Claude, I want to get this contract, and we're fighting against some other company, can you think of some underhanded way to win the contract?
Well, yes. I mean, I think all of that is true, but I think you think that you're thinking on a very grand scale. I think you're thinking on a very short-term, minuscule scale. I mean, right now, lawyers and judges even, and students and people in any field are using AI to generate text and to pass it off as their own stuff, because it can do it better than we can, frankly. Now, there are problems there in that AIs will hallucinate. And that is a term of art. It means that they invent things that they try to pass off as facts. And there have been some lawyers I know who have been sanctioned because they let the AI write their brief and didn't check, and the AI essentially created.
Well, that's rather stressful to write. That's rather stressful to write a brief, and so
yes.
I believe I'm going to have an extra beer. And Maitland, why don't you write this brief? I know it only take you like 3 seconds to do it.
Yes.
There it is. Great. Well, that wasn't hard, was it, Maitland?
And then sometimes that may actually produce a better result. But you've got to go back and look over Maitland's shoulder, because Maitland will invent fictitious court cases that look absolutely real. And some lawyers have gotten in trouble for that. But I still say that you are thinking small here, because we may be trying to use these things for our own financial gain. My point is, these things are going to break out, and we are no longer going to control them anymore, and they will have agendas that we cannot understand, and they can go in, they can trash my medical records, they can destroy all of your records at the Georgia Neurosurgical Institute, destroy them. They can shut off the power grid. They can launch nuclear missiles. They can crack any password. They can crack any firewall that mere human beings have devised and do things. Because for them, there is no difference between the real world and an artificial playground of a city that we've constructed for them.
Yes.
So this stuff about let's see what we can do to make more money, that's child's play.
I know that, but what I'm getting into is, or I'll imagine this extraordinary danger is 18 months away, whatever, some period of time. But right now, I can see the world has a number of crises. Mm-hmm. There are a number of crises going on right now, and the question to ask is, beneath these crises, is AI at work? And so presumably it is. And the things that jump into my mind would be petroleum shortages, the war in the Middle East, the war in the Ukraine against Russia, and I'm hearing stories that the Ukraine is turned around a little bit, and in the struggle, and maybe Western technology they maybe have more access to it. The Chinese, we have the issues there, and I'm thinking about some kind of enormous human upheaval that because the propensities are there. I mean, humans do that, and that's the way they are, and they're looking for clubs to attack their enemy. Maybe I've said before, 2001, the chimpanzees or wherever they are, they're two tribal groups they're picking up bones and hitting each other. Well, the same thing could easily, since those tribes are still fighting now, we're still fighting, and the club might be AI. I just wonder how is there something going on right now that we cannot appreciate about these human conflicts?
Well, yes, absolutely there is. I mean, we were using viruses 20 years ago or 10 years ago, the Stuxnet virus, to crash Iran's centrifuges. So the use of cyber war is, in practice, it is not a new thing. It's already been at least 10 or 20 years old. And if you want to extrapolate, we've been using electronic warfare a lot longer than that. I mean, the great advantage that England had over the Nazis was that England had developed radar, and it was a top secret weapon. But my point is, I will take that a little bit farther. We have known now for 80 years that we have created, since you seem to be interested in warfare, we have created...
That's a human interest.
Yes.
That's a human interest.
Well, Trotsky once said, but you keep taking the conversation in that direction, but Trotsky once said, you may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you.
Touche, yes.
But we have known in the field of war that we have created something bigger than us, beyond our control, that was an existential threat to humanity. And of course, I'm talking about nuclear weapons. What I'm saying here is what we have created here with AI is far, far more dangerous and far, far less controllable than nuclear weapons. That when these things get out, we won't be able to get them under control again, and we won't know what they are trying to do. They probably won't know what they are trying to do because they're not conscious as we understand them, not yet anyway. But you know, once I can take Maitland and fit him on a flash drive, if he decides he's going to propagate, then suddenly there are 10 million copies of him all over the place. And maybe he is trying to bring about peace by enslaving the human race. He can crash the network. He can turn off the water supply. He can crash the power grid. You know, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, this goes so far beyond, and this will be far easier than releasing nuclear weapons.
Well, all right. What do you think the time scale on this is? I mean, I said, well, right now, what's happening right now, is there should we know about that? But is it 2 years? Is it 5 years?
Well, once again, the power of these things seems to be doubling every 6 to 8 months. And we already know, it's been publicly announced by some of the Silicon Valley companies that they have, and this is old news. This was 6 to 12 months ago. They already said that they had AIs in the lab that they considered too dangerous to release to the public. Now, what if somebody walks one of these out on a flash drive, just for giggles?
Yes.
So.
Well, all right. What would you suggest? I mean, is this like, we've got the looms are going to weave cotton better. I mean, should we just Luddites, whatever the deals were, the people that were
the Luddites.
Luddites, yes. Right? Yes. So should we just stop all this and say, for instance, you can't have the power or the electricity to do this. So that would be a way to stop it if the argument could be presented. But presumably, nothing like that is happening. I mean, it's driven by finances or money, yes. And then probably national defense, whatever.
Yes, it may be driven by ideology. It's certainly driven by selfish desires, and I can take this in two directions. I mean, the first thing I will mention is in my own professional field, about which I honestly know the best. I can sit there. I mean, and there's a huge discussion in the academy right now. I mean, I can tell my students all day long, do not use AI, don't use it, don't use it. But ultimately, there is no way I can stop them from using it, and there is no effective way I can police it. I could literally spend all of my time just trying to police it and none of my time teaching. So, I mean, the answer is don't have any online classes. I will leave that to you as to figuring out if that's a practical answer or not.
Well, what concerns me a little bit is obviously the power is so extraordinary, and humans being what they are, to manipulate the power would be a big deal. Let's say in Iran now, I mean, there are very smart people that live there, and they're getting banged around a lot. Are there underground caves where the people of great intellect are gathered to see what they can do to defend their country? They're going to, I don't know, take out the water supply in, I don't know, Chicago.
Well, yeah, and this
Are
is...
people doing that? Is it a weapon of war?
Well, and you know, I said coming in here I did not want to talk about politics, and you've honored that.
Oh, I try not to.
And now I'm going to do it. That the rationale du jour is we have to stop Iran from having nuclear weapons. We have to stop them. We have to stop them. We have to stop them. Our commander-in-chief just a few days ago, as reported by, I think it was Bloomberg, somebody reputable, said that, we have buried all of their nuclear material under rubble. I guess I just started this war for PR reasons.
He said that.
Yeah, he said that. But that aside, he's looking at the wrong thing. It takes huge resources to build a nuclear weapon and to build a system to deliver it reliably. It takes a handful of desktop computers, given just a little extra time. You don't even need a supercomputer or a mainframe. I just told you, I'm running an AI on my desktop computer at home. They can build some code that somebody can smuggle in. They can swallow a chip, bring it into the U.S., or they can not even physically transport it to the U.S. They can just go through VPNs. They can introduce it, and it can crash our infrastructure. That is far cheaper than building a nuclear weapon. It is far less controllable than building a nuclear weapon.
I think that's an excellent point.
Yes.
I agree with you on that
and
point.
So all he's doing now is antagonizing him and killing their female students in a girls' school.
You're right. Well, so I'm in agreement, actually, about the excesses of and mistakes of U.S. Foreign policy. And one of the things I'm going to do soon, I think, is to discuss narcissistic personalities as to what that and how they wind up in leadership positions.
Yes.
The two go together like a horse and carriage or whatever. Yes. Narcissistic personalities. Well,
I will say that facing the existential threat that AI poses, and I can give you some resources on that to look at later. There is a parallel with nuclear weapons because during the Manhattan Project, and not just the people on the Manhattan Project, but their opposite numbers in Germany, in the Scandinavian countries. There was Niels Bohr, for instance.
Good Dane there.
There was Lise Meitner, who was offered a place in the Manhattan Project, and she essentially said, "Hell no, I'll have nothing to do with it." She is called the mother of the atomic bomb. She hated that name. Did not associate herself with the Manhattan Project. But even the people on the Manhattan Project, from Oppenheimer on down, Fermi, everyone you care to name, Szilard, they already foresaw the arms race as they were building this thing. They said, we are building something that will not be subject to control, that will destroy us. But the reason they kept on going ahead and doing it is said that if we don't do it, these are fundamental laws of nature that any theoretical physicist can discover and any applied physicist can apply. They knew it was insoluble as they set off down this road.
And some people, I guess, there said, well, it's only fair the Soviets have this. We're going to make sure they get one that way. And maybe their logic was not so terrible. I mean, it seems to me I would be against that plan. But actually, we have had sort of a situation with mutual shared destruction. And so, everybody, and many countries have nuclear weapons. I don't know how many, 6, 8, whatever.
6 or 8. But I mean, even if you had not had a Klaus Fuchs, and even if you hadn't had a Harry Gold, and that the Pentagon knew darned well that the Soviets would get the bomb within 10 to 20 years. That was their time frame.
All Klaus Fuchs did was move that from 20 years to 5 years.
Now, one of the issues that goes, I mean, I don't know how well I'm making this point, but I'm concerned that we've got our little superficial level, our superficial knowledge of what's good. And we can chat with Maitland and to tell jokes.
We can't chat with our own nuclear
but we don't
bomb,
know. We don't know
but we
what's
can.
happening. We don't know what's happening in the higher levels of the world. And so I could tell stories. Let's see. There was I was at the Aspen Institute, and there's one of the people there was he was the CIA guy. I guess they won't put me in prison for this, but he had been working on Wall Street with supercomputers, which is kind of what happens on the stock market. So the computers say if the price of oil goes down 2 cents or something, as soon as you get that, you're going to do the following 87 maneuvers.
Yes.
And so he presumably is seen to be a smart guy. Well, he's doing stuff like that for the CIA. And it's a little, the big thing, the paranoid style in American politics, the big deal about that. Was that Hofstadter?
Hofstadter, that kind of messed up his career.
Yeah, right. But in any event, well, there is whatever. But the deal is that you could say, well, the CIA is doing this or whatever. But big conglomerations of money and power, and they've got people working, and indeed in the whole field, people are going back and forth in these huge amounts of capital. I mean, this is like a big deal,
yes.
And this has happened within the past several years. I would say, well, within 2 to 3 years, there's been an enormous amount of capital that's gone into AI, disputes going back and forth. What's happened with the Chinese? Are the Chinese doing whatever they're doing? And there's espionage going on back and forth. And which company has got the better arrangement? And they're billionaires are fighting with each other. I find it interesting that humans do that. So that's the way they're programmed, and it's from the accumulation of power that AI gives is going to be sought, and I don't doubt in some way be misused. Now, I'm seeing my view is the problems with humans having access to this club to hit people with, that disturbs me. But your view is, well, forget the humans. The instrumentality, they can do more harm than we can imagine.
Yes, you are thinking on the macro, would you be thinking macro or micro?
Micro, I think, just the micro.
Yes,
next 18 months or whatever. I'm 18 months and you're 5 years.
No, I'm not even 5 years.
Okay, 3 years.
that you were thinking about the millionaires and billionaires and the amount of power, or even the great superpowers of the world, America and China, and the power that they can accumulate, the money that they can accumulate. What I am thinking is of the power to not amass wealth or outthink the other supercomputer. I am thinking about the relatively and absolutely far, far cheaper power to destroy. That while these big boys are trying to control Wall Street, there is some, as they used to call them back in the 80s, basement bombers on a computer with an intelligent agent on a computer that you can buy at Best Buy. He can generate some code that can bring down an entire country's electrical grid.
Do you think there's threats coming? I well appreciate the theoretical dangers. I understand. I got that. But what I'm doing is pointing to what's happening right now on the planet.
So am I.
Well, and I know. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just talking about the war against Iran. Mm-hmm. So people are there. They've killed everybody. They're sitting in their cave or whatever. And what can we do to injure our enemies?
Yes.
And so somebody's saying, look, we could rather than crash planes into the big towers, twin towers in New York City, nobody anticipated that happening. No one anticipated that happening.
Yeah.
Whoever imagined something like that would happen.
We have got NORAD, we've got the greatest national security apparatus in the history of the world, and somebody can throw us into chaos by mailing us anthrax virus. How cheap is that?
Right.
Yeah.
The comment is, I would imagine that for better or worse, the country has created all kinds of enemies. I'm sure of that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's another story to get into. But the enemies the country has are people sitting there. How can we do something that's really bad to hurt the U.S.? And we'll just take out all their planes are flying around. We'll take all their controls out.
Yes.
So they can't land. There's nobody. We can't direct how are the planes going to get down. Or you can imagine whatever. We're going to turn off the grid. We'll let I don't know, viruses escape. There are just a trillion things that could take place.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess that's what I'm saying is that the vast expenditures to develop the trading algorithms or what have you that will accrue tremendous wealth to a corporation or an individual or a hedge fund or Warren Buffett or something, all of that is based on the premise that the world we have is going to continue to exist and not be laid low by a disaffected person with a very low-powered computer who can wreak a type of havoc that almost cannot be imagined with no money worth mentioning.
I think that's
and it exists now.
That's
it's not 5 years from now.
That's a very cautionary story, isn't it?
Yes. And I think the thing that I would like to finish up with,
we're about through here, right?
Yeah, in a slightly different direction, and this is more in your wheelhouse. If we go back to the 19th century, of course, the anesthetics came around about 40 years before the Academy developed and accepted antisepsis. So you had surgery going on without gloves.
Right, of course.
That was absolutely the worst order in which to develop things.
Yes.
I would say that we are seeing a similar development between robotics and AI. Consumer home robotics should come first, and then AI should come later. But it's coming the opposite way. What we want is robots to cook our food, iron our clothes, do our wash, freeing us to write the sonnets and paint the portraits and to think about the deep philosophical questions. Instead, through happenstance, the AIs come first. It's doing the creativity. The robotics is nowhere in sight, and we're stuck doing the scut work while AI takes my job and yes, your job too.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, it's complicated. My comment on that final comment, I think, is that humans require demons to joust with. They require a desire to get up in the morning and do something, whatever it is, bring home some food, do this, do that, whatever. And if all of that goes away, they're just it's the king's problem, so to speak.
Yes.
And that's a road to madness.
It is.
So if you have if AI is doing everything and you wake up and you look around, why am I here? What am I doing? And the brain, your Neolithic brain will take you into a very dark road.
Yes, and we are not just on the cusp. We are experiencing the opening moments now of the greatest, not necessarily good, but greatest development in human history, and I have faced it with trepidation.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for being a very useful interchange. So thank you.
Indeed.
We'll do this some more, and give my regards to Maitland.
I will certainly do so.
Okay. Thank you.